Hello everybody, welcome and thank you for attending today's webinar on HPE Storage for OEM. I'm Matt Quirk, and just before we begin, I want to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of the screen there are multiple application widgets that you can use. Now these are all resizable and movable, so feel free to move them around, get the best out of your desktop space. You can expand the slides area or maximize it up to full screen by clicking on the arrows in the top right hand corner. And if you have any questions during the webcast, you can submit them through the Q&A widget. We'll try and answer these during the webcast, but don't forget we have a live Q&A session directly after the slides where we can cover anything in more detail. Copy of today's slide deck and additional help materials available in the resource list. Encourage you to download any resources or bookmark any links that you might find useful. Now, the webcast is being streamed through your computer, so there's no dial-in number. So for the best audio quality, please make sure your speakers or your headset are turned on, volume's up so you can hear us nice and clearly. So you can find some additional answers to common technical issues located in the Help widget at the bottom of your screen. And then finally, an on-demand version of the webcast will be available approximately one day after we're doing it here today, and you'll receive a link via email for that. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Dirk, who's going to cover an introduction into HPE Storage.
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. I'm Dirk Kunzelman. I'm the Worldwide OEM Product Manager for our storage group. I'm also joined today by Matt Miller from the Solutions Marketing team, and he's a little bit later going to do a deep dive for us on Nimble Storage. But I'm going to go ahead and start with a walkthrough of the HPE storage strategy and how we're improving and investing to help customers in 2018. Let's begin by considering how the storage industry has changed over the last several years. Those changes have been headlined by the move to the all-flash data center, and unlike other technology transitions, this shift happened faster than even the pundits forecasted. It wasn't that long ago that flash was exclusively a Tier 1 media for extreme performance applications, and more recently it's become more mainstream as the price of flash has approached that of spinning disks. But now we're on the cusp of a third wave where flash is the default deployment for business apps. In fact, if you take a look at our own mix right now, over 60% of our primary arrays are shipping configured as all flash. And when we look at competitive landscape, most individual array features are becoming normalized across all vendors. Now, this doesn't mean that core storage isn't important, but it does mean customers are thinking beyond the box to maximize their benefit of flash within their data center. And this is where we have a fantastic opportunity. Let's take a look at some things that worry customers in a landscape where flash is a given and everyone claims to be a leader. The first is something we're calling the app data gap. As individuals, we interact with technology on a daily basis, and we've grown to expect data to be available always and instantly. A great example is when we get into a car, open Google Maps to navigate to our destination. And data access is even more essential to a business. Any slowdown or disruption that occurs across the infrastructure stack, and that can include storage, networking, servers, and VMs, causes that app data gap that disrupts the application and makes users wait. And that ultimately can cost a business money. The fundamental requirement for storage needs to be that we help close that app data gap regardless of what causes it. For some more insight, here's a deeper dive into what HPE learned when we analyzed the causes of the app data gap. The team looked at thousands of support cases where administrators had determined that there was some sort of issue with their storage. What the team found was actually eye-opening. Spoiler alert, the app data gap is not caused by just one thing, and although storage often gets the blame for problems, in reality, less than half of the issues are actually caused by storage. The rest relate to complex infrastructure interactions on multiple levels of the stack. These interactions are so complex, in fact, that it is becoming impossible for admins to navigate all the best practices and dependencies to keep their infrastructure running optimally. So what's a poor admin to do? Well, just as autonomous cars offer the promise of safer roads and faster travel, we can apply similar techniques to the data center. Through the combination of rich telemetry, cross-correlations between components, real-time predictive analysis, and global learning, we bring artificial intelligence to the data center and fundamentally transform how problems are solved. HPE is now a leader in this space with the acquisition of Nimble Storage and the InfoSight predictive analytics platform. Every second, HPE InfoSight processes millions of sensor data points collected from our installed base with the goal of predicting and preventing problems. As you may have guessed, the benefits of HPE InfoSight are already available on HPE Nimble Storage platforms. And coming soon, we're actively working on bringing InfoSight predictive analytics to the rest of the HPE portfolio, starting with HPE 3PAR storage. We believe that by combining our fast flash storage solutions with predictive analytics, we can close the app data gap end to end. Another issue keeping customers awake at night is their cloud strategy. Cloud's more than a buzzword, and IT admins are being asked for their cloud strategy while still having to deal with the day-to-day reality of keeping their current infrastructure running and satisfying today's business needs. They're trying to figure out how to evolve to take advantage of the cloud-related offerings ranging from cloud-inspired capabilities to the public cloud itself. Now here's HPE's insight. If you can deploy cloud-ready storage on premises today, you can be better prepared for moving to the cloud at any time, and at the same time, achieve many of the cloud's agility benefits within your own data center now. This approach to new storage deployment can natively link primary storage, secondary storage, and public cloud storage so you can migrate application data easily and avoid lock-in. HPE's flash storage portfolio has been architected for agility, with federated data mobility across all flash and hybrid systems, across primary and secondary storage, and between on-premises and the public cloud. This extreme flexibility means you can deploy flash everywhere and assign applications to the best type of storage for a given price performance requirement, but at the same time easily and non-disruptively adjust as needs change. This includes the ability to host primary volumes and archive tiers in Azure and AWS so that your on-premises storage deployments are cloud-ready on day one. The last new IT problem we're going to talk about today is evolving investment expectations. Now, for the longest time, the pattern's been for IT to purchase a storage system, run it for 3 to 5 years, and then go through the painful rip and replace upgrade to keep up with growth. But now, with the amount of performance and density in today's flash systems, refresh cycles are getting longer, and there's an expectation that what you buy now will be good for the future as well. Now, in the new storage world, you don't have to be stuck with storage you don't like, and technology purchases and refreshes don't have to be painful. You should look for vendors that stand behind their products with reliability guarantees, built-in tech refreshes, and even cloud-like pay-as-you-go business models to help you confidently achieve a radically different storage experience. You should also demand that your vendor preserves your investment as needs change so that you're positioned for new technologies like NVMe and storage class memory. That evolution of investment expectations is why HPE has built the timeless storage business model. With it, we've made it easy for you to achieve radically simpler storage experience without headaches now or in the future. We deliver an all-inclusive experience that stays simple and preserves your investment as your business grows and your needs evolve. And HPE is the only vendor in the industry that provides a 99.9999%, that's 6 nines, availability guarantee across its enterprise flash portfolio. So far, you've heard about how a flash-based world has created new worries for customers and their IT departments, and the key areas where HPE is differentiating what we bring to flash storage to address those problems. Now, let's take a pause and take a peek at some of HPE's flash-first storage portfolio. As you probably know, HPE offers a wide range of storage platforms, from the entry-level MSA to the mainframe class XP7. But today we're focusing on our sweet spot platforms, HPE 3PAR and HPE Nimble Storage. Today, both HPE 3PAR and Nimble Storage offer solutions spanning mid-size to the largest enterprise environments. Both products offer a 6 nines availability guarantee, and both products are designed for mission-critical workloads. Where they're different is around their design centers. For instance, HPE Nimble Storage is valued by customers who place an emphasis on simplicity and a new style of support. It offers a rich set of features and data services that are designed to be always on without impacting performance. 3PAR is most valued by customers who are looking for flexibility and the broadest set of storage features. Some examples might include the ability to build large federated clusters or to mix block and file on the same platform. 3PAR also offers industry-leading scalability. But just to be clear, it's not that Nimble isn't flexible or that 3PAR isn't simple, but rather that these capabilities speak to the relative differences between the two platform design centers. Now that you've seen that quick overview of HPE Nimble Storage and 3PAR storage products, I'd like to finish with a recap of our 3 key differentiation points before I hand things off for the deep dive on Nimble Storage. First, predictive. We bring AI to the data center through HPE InfoSight by predicting and preventing problems across the infrastructure. Today it's available for HPE Nimble Storage, and it's coming soon to 3PAR and other products. Next, cloud ready. Future-proof your environment for the cloud with easy mobility between on-premises and the cloud using HPE Cloud Volumes and Cloud Bank Storage. We also have a rich set of scale-out file and object for cloud storage archives. Finally, timeless. We have the only 6 nines guarantee in the industry across an enterprise flash portfolio. And because we believe that your investment should be good for today and the future, we offer all-inclusive licensing and are future-proofed for new technologies. Thank you so much for your time and attention on this brief overview. I'd like now to introduce Matt Miller, who came to HPE as part of the Nimble acquisition and is now sharing his talents on the product and solutions marketing team for HPE Storage. Matt, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Dirk. As Dirk mentioned, my name is Matt Miller, and I'm on the product and solutions marketing team here at HPE, and I did come across in the Nimble acquisition recently. Now that you have the backdrop as to how we are addressing some of the customer issues that we see in the market around storage, what I wanted to do over the next few slides is to take you a little bit more in depth on the Nimble platform. So the HPE Nimble platform was designed to address the app data gap that you heard Dirk talk about. So it's comprised of 2 main components. The first is HPE InfoSight, which is our predictive analytics engine that provides true AI for the data center and really helps to address this app data gap problem. The second piece is what we call the multi-cloud flash fabric. And this is the combination of primary storage flash arrays, secondary flash arrays, and multi-cloud storage that's designed to deliver flash seamlessly across all of those dimensions. So together, Nimble brings flash to all applications and delivers something that's reliably fast, radically simple to use, and makes customers' environments cloud ready. So let's begin with InfoSight. This is one of the most unique differentiators in the industry and really sets Nimble apart from the rest of the offerings out in the market. So what is InfoSight and how does it work? So as I mentioned, InfoSight is our predictive analytics engine that helps to deliver that true AI for the data center. So there's really 3 main areas in which we want to examine in terms of how InfoSight operates. So the first is what we call cross-stack telemetry. So transforming how infrastructure is managed really starts with having the right data. So data from infrastructure has always been limited to log files and pretty graphs on obvious metrics. So InfoSight takes a much more comprehensive approach to data collection and analysis. Every second, InfoSight is collecting thousands of embedded sensors that are built into every array, as well as pulling data in from across the infrastructure stack. So next, InfoSight isn't analyzing this data in isolation. So it's analyzing millions of sensors every second from across the global installed base and helps generate cloud-based predictive analytics that can provide actionable intelligence back to the customer. And finally, InfoSight is constantly learning from the collective insights and experiences of the installed base, which really help to make the collective infrastructure smarter over time. So this is all great and sounds fantastic, but how does this actually benefit the customer? So let's take a look at that. So the main benefit that customers get is that InfoSight allows them to overcome the complexity and eliminate the anxiety brought on by managing infrastructure. So there's three main areas in which InfoSight delivers business value that I want to walk you through. So let's take a look. So the first is InfoSight predicts and prevents problems. The goal is not just to show a customer that they have a problem and resolve it, but to utilize the power of the globally connected install base to help prevent customers from having an issue to begin with in the first place. As InfoSight analyzes the install base, it's predicting and preventing in every customer's environment. And if it uncovers an issue, it proactively resolves it, often before the customer even realizes there's a problem. Next, InfoSight sees what others can't and provides clear insights up and down the infrastructure stack. So traditional monitoring tools cause more trouble for customers, often creating more questions than answers. And if a customer is trying to determine the root cause of a performance hit, for example, they might have to try to be their own data scientist and interpret data from many disparate tools. So instead, InfoSight has embedded data science and machine learning to give just the right answers at the right time. And with all of the systems connected into the cloud, individual customers' infrastructure will get smarter by learning from the other systems in the installed base. Finally, because of InfoSight, we're able to deliver a transformed support experience, one that customers actually like. So InfoSight automates the tasks that are typically handled by traditional level 1 and level 2 support staff. This has allowed Nimble to build a support organization made up of entirely level 3 experts. So in the rare case that a customer actually needs to call into support, in less than a minute they'll speak directly to a level 3 support engineer and an expert who will quickly help them resolve their problem, even if it's outside of the storage realm. So the proof is really in these three numbers. The fact that we predict and prevent 86% of issues, we can guarantee 6 nines of availability across the entire installed base, and 54% of the cases that InfoSight resolves are outside of the storage realm. So now that we've covered InfoSight, let's look at the second component of the Nimble Storage platform. This is what we call the multi-cloud flash fabric, which again combines primary flash arrays, secondary flash arrays, as well as multi-cloud storage to deliver flash seamlessly across all of these dimensions. So let's take a closer look. So the multi-cloud flash fabric provides that single architecture that can span both on-premises infrastructure as well as cloud. It provides a flash-optimized storage platform. It can scale to fit your customers' environments, and what we mean by that is scaling up as well as scaling out in a non-disruptive way as to not interrupt any user access to applications. You have unified data services across on-premises and cloud. And finally, multi-cloud mobility allows you to move data between on-premise and cloud seamlessly and without interruption. So let's take a little bit closer look at the components of the multi-cloud flash fabric. So the first component of the multi-cloud flash fabric are the Nimble Storage all-flash arrays. And our all-flash arrays were designed and built to be generationally beyond other all-flash arrays. So how do we accomplish that? So one is we start out with 20% more usable capacity than typical all-flash arrays. So that's going to drive a level of efficiency that's not seen in some competitors' offerings. The other is because we have the multi-cloud flash fabric, we can do backup or disaster recovery at a third of the cost because you can use an all-flash array for your primary storage and a much more cost-effective hybrid array for backup or secondary workloads. So the bottom line is our all-flash arrays are meant to deliver the sheer performance and scalability that's required of an all-flash array, but in a much more efficient and cost-effective design than what you would find from other vendors. So just to hone in on that 20% more effective capacity number, this comes from a more efficient and elegant SSD layout within our all-flash arrays. This is even before we take into account some further savings that you get from data reduction technologies like dedupe and compression. So just as an example, compared to pure storage, out of 100 terabytes of raw storage, Nimble will get about 74 terabytes usable. From the same amount of raw storage, Pure only gets about 62 terabytes. So the astounding thing here is that we were able to achieve 20% more usable space, even though we have triple plus parity RAID, while our competitor Pure only has double plus parity. And we guarantee space for a spare. So this is really what leads to us having a much more efficient and effective capacity layout for our all-flash arrays. And of course, we layer on top of that other data reduction technologies like dedupe and compression, zero pattern elimination, and thin provisioning and zero copy clone. So this all adds up to a very efficient design that can make all-flash arrays cost-effective for most environments. So this is just a snapshot of the Nimble Storage all-flash array portfolio. It's designed to meet the needs of both the enterprise market space as well as the needs of small and medium businesses or mid-sized enterprises more at the low end of the market. So each consecutive member of the all-flash portfolio brings with it more performance as well as higher storage capacities, depending on what your customer's needs are. So the next piece of the multi-cloud flash fabric is what we call our adaptive flash arrays. These are hybrid storage arrays, so they're a mix of flash memory as well as spinning hard disk drives. And this is really where Nimble got its start in the market originally. So many of the attributes of the multi-cloud flash fabric apply to the adaptive flash arrays as well. The unique thing about our hybrid arrays is that we have a highly differentiated file system that can write to hard disk drives at flash speeds. So what this allows us to do is use slower, higher density hard disk drives that can really drive efficiency of capacity and make these storage systems extremely dense. So you can really lower that footprint in the data center. So this is really where we're going to set ourselves apart from a hybrid storage perspective. And these arrays are ideal for primary workloads where the economics of flash still don't work for some customers and they need flash-like performance but want a much more cost-effective system. So this is what these are geared towards. And I'm just showing you a similar slide of the adaptive flash portfolio. Again, these are designed to meet the needs of the small and medium business market all the way up to what I would say the lower end of the enterprise. These are customers that need a more cost-effective solution to all flash. Again, each consecutive member of the family here provides more performance as well as a larger scalability in terms of capacity. So we've looked at all flash arrays and adaptive flash arrays for primary storage. The next component of the multi-cloud flash fabric is our secondary flash arrays. And these are really hybrid storage arrays that are optimized to run secondary workloads. So you can also use these systems as a backup target, but for those customers that want to actually make use of that backup data and have a system with the performance that can run secondary applications, whether it's test and dev, data analytics, or support type applications, this is the ideal array for them. So you can actually put your backup data to work on a system that's optimized to run these secondary workloads. So the final component of the multi-cloud flash fabric is multi-cloud storage and what we call HPE Cloud Volumes. So what HPE Cloud Volumes is an enterprise-grade multi-cloud storage service to help customers run applications in either Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure public clouds. So this is an all-new native cloud storage service that's run by HPE, and it's built on HPE Nimble technology. And again, it's delivered as a 100% pay-as-you-go service, much like you would procure from AWS or Azure. So this provides a separate service for storage while customers continue to run AWS or Azure for compute. So let's look at a couple of the benefits of HPE Cloud Volumes. First, it's enterprise grade. As I mentioned, it's built on the Nimble platform, so it is running the same Nimble Storage OS just in the public cloud. So you get that guaranteed 6 nines of availability that customers are looking for, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud. Second is easy mobility. So you can actually move HPE Cloud Volumes from Microsoft Azure to AWS or vice versa. So it gives you a great deal of flexibility should your customer's cloud strategy change. And finally, you get the benefit of HPE InfoSight and analytics with a global visibility. So you can monitor both your on-prem arrays as well as your cloud volumes that are up in the public cloud. So you gain all of those benefits that we talked about with InfoSight. So with the addition of HPE Cloud Volumes, this really means that HPE Nimble Storage arrays are cloud ready from day one. I'm sure most of your customers are having cloud discussions within their organizations, and whether they are ready to move to the cloud today or if it's something they're looking at down the road, a Nimble Storage architecture provides them with an easy on-ramp to that cloud strategy when and if they want to make that move. So this will only put you further in the driver's seat in conversations with customers when you can give them that easy on-ramp to the cloud. So we've gone through all of the components of the multi-cloud flash fabric. What I'd like to touch on finally is the concept of converged infrastructure. So customers are increasingly looking towards converged solutions, or essentially infrastructure stacks that have been pre-tested and pre-validated by the vendors. This allows them to avoid a lot of the interoperability testing and validation and doing those operations within their own environments and actually relying on the vendors to do that testing for them. So this is, again, increasingly a way that customers are purchasing infrastructure. And we now have offerings with HPE plus Nimble in this area, and what it's called is the HPE Converged Architecture 700. So again, these are converged solutions that contain HPE compute and networking resources along with Nimble Storage as the storage layer. So the two things that Nimble brings to the table in this environment is, one, the power of predictive analytics. So you heard all about InfoSight, so all of that goodness comes to these infrastructure stack solutions. And finally, it's radically simple to use. So the Nimble Storage platform has been designed to be simple to use, simple to install, simple to buy. So just an overall transformed simplicity for the customer. So again, if your customers are looking at converged solutions, we now have those offerings within HPE. And I'd just like to finish up with a recap of the timeless storage business model, because this addresses all of the Nimble offerings, and increasingly this is going to apply across the HPE storage portfolio. So I won't go through each one of these line items again, but it's really just designed to allow customers to have a much more simple and predictable ownership model for infrastructure, specifically around storage. So having all-inclusive software licensing, flat support pricing, an option for a new controller after 3 years. This just makes everything much more predictable. And then, of course, we wrap that around with our 6 nines guarantee and our satisfaction guarantee. So the level of risk also goes down for the customer. And that's going to make them feel much more comfortable buying storage from a vendor than the way they used to in the past. So with that, I have reached the end of my section. So what I'm going to do is turn it back over and see if we have any questions that we can answer on anything you've heard today. I'd just like to thank everyone for joining. And again, we'll take your questions right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Dirk. Great insight into HPE storage for OEMs, so appreciate you taking the time to do the webcast there. Just before we get everybody together for the live Q&A, there's 3 or 4 slides which just go through the SKUs attached to Nimble and the controllers, and you'll be able to see these, obviously, when you download them from the resource list, and then we'll get everybody onto the Q&A. So there you have it. No more disruptions, no more stress, and no more downtime, as it says on the screen here. I'd like to hand over now to Dave Chapin, who's the manager of our worldwide OEM business development team, who's going to host the live Q&A.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. As Matt said, I'm Dave Chapin with the OEM team, and I'll be running the live Q&A today. We've got Matt Miller with us here from Nimble as a subject matter expert, and we will begin to take questions. Please use the Q&A tool at the bottom of your webinar tool, to submit those questions. Matt, as we have folks writing questions in, maybe you could cover the software set that comes with the Nimble Fabric.
The software set. So we on the Nimble platform, we have an all-inclusive software model. So we don't charge any extra license fees for software features, but Nimble has a fairly comprehensive set of capabilities with redirect on write snapshots. We have asynchronous replication, zero-copy clones, so kind of a full set of data services that are available as part of the platform. So again, we don't charge any extra fees for those. And likewise with InfoSight that we discussed earlier, that comes standard as part of the support contract on the Nimble Array. So you don't pay any extra for the InfoSight predictive analytics either. So we've definitely adopted that all-inclusive model.
Excellent. Fantastic. All right, we do have some questions coming in, Matt. Let me read these off to you. Are there any examples of specific problems identified and how root cause was determined and what was done to fix those problems in a use case scenario, and how would you maybe have assured that those wouldn't happen again? So maybe just kind of a use case.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example kind of outside of the storage realm. So there was a VMware issue that one of our customers was having, and they couldn't figure out what was happening from a performance standpoint. It was just the system was being basically brought to a standstill. And it was determined through the correlation that InfoSight can do from the various areas where it collects data from, not only the storage, but the network, the host layer, and the hypervisor layer, that it was actually a memory leak issue on the server. So we were able to diagnose that very quickly, and then not only solve the issue for that particular customer, but we actually looked through the data patterns across the entire install base and identified 40 other customers that were at risk for that potential issue to happen, and be able to contact them proactively and head off that issue before they even realized that there would have been a problem. So that's kind of the power of what we've got with InfoSight, is that once you recognize a problem in one particular place, we can then look across and see, who else might be susceptible to that, and solve the problem before it becomes an issue.
All right. Excellent. I just want to remind folks, use the Q&A tool within the webinar environment to submit questions. I'll go on to the next one, Matt. Could a customer simultaneously have Azure and AWS cloud volumes with duplicate data if they don't want to trust a single cloud partner, i.e. have data from Nimble on-prem replicated to both Azure and AWS simultaneously?
Yeah, I think I understand the question. The answer is yes. You can have a volume attached to AWS as well as Azure. You can't have AWS and Azure accessing the same volume simultaneously. So that would not be possible, but you can replicate the same data to two separate volumes attached to each one of the cloud compute platforms. So hopefully that answers that question.
Great, thank you. An additional question here, maybe a roadmap type question. How will NVMe be added to the current solution?
Yeah, that's definitely a roadmap question. So I can't give you too much insight into the specifics on that. But the Nimble platform in general, and this goes back to our beginning, is that we've designed it in such a way that we can take advantage of newer technologies like NVMe that comes along, or storage class memory. So you will see our platform being able to easily upgrade, our customers being able to easily upgrade to using those technologies with their maintaining their current investment. So you'll see the next generation of Nimble storage systems supporting those type of new technologies, and then also giving our existing customers an easy path forward to taking advantage of those.
Excellent.
I think I can say that without giving away too much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just tough to share roadmap information before it's time. An additional question coming in, and I'm guessing this might be a good opportunity for you to talk about where HP plays within a service engagement, and then what a customer could do from their own side of the fence once problems have been identified in InfoSight. But the question is, once a problem is identified, do we have the ability within an HPE lab to replicate it and get to root cause in a non-production environment? The way a customer wants to approach solving those identified problems.
Right. So the Nimble storage, the support organization is still going to be maintained as its own entity. So we do have like a lot of support organizations have the ability to work on customer problems in our own labs, and we'll continue to do that. The advantage that we have with InfoSight is that everything that the customer can see within their storage system through InfoSight, our support organization already has visibility to. So they can they have a huge head start in terms of root causing a problem and trying to replicate what's going on in the customer's environment, because the customer doesn't have to send them basically dumps of log files and basically starting from that standpoint. They can receive a call from a customer and look up their system, and all of a sudden they've got all the visibility that customer has. So that's kind of how we are able to kind of deliver the level of support that we do.
Got it. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. It looks like we've come to the end of our questions for this session, and I want to thank all of our attendees today for joining us. You will get a survey coming to you. Some of what we'd like to hear are other topics for future webinars that you'd be interested in hearing. So please help us out and fill that out. And for those who have colleagues that would be interested in this content, a replay of the webinar will be available within 24 hours, and that information will be emailed to you as well. So good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of the day.